Hello everyone. So previously we were done with the different data structures actually. I said we'll be continuing with the union find actually. What happens is, so we will be discussing the algorithms. It comes under the graphs itself, right? Union find or the this one disjoint set union actually. It comes under graph itself. So we will be completely discussing that one within the different algorithms actually that we'll be discussing. So around 150 algorithms that we'll be discussing in the detail, and that would be the last this thing playlist actually, right? For now, basically. So again, I didn't wanted to discuss that this one, the same thing within the data structures playlist. So I'll finish that one with a graph with a adjacency matrix actually. That's more than enough actually. Segment tree, this one Fenwick tree or the binary index tree, and Bloom filter, these things. B plus B minus tree, and this one, all other things actually, disjoint set union, these comes under the trees as well as the graphs itself, right? So that we will be discussing within the 150 algorithms that we'll be discussing actually mainly. So we have discussed actually that I had done in Python. So currently I'm not getting the job calls actually, to be frank. So I'll be continuing with the, after doing this, I'll be continuing with the this one, what do we call, algorithms playlist actually. Let's revise entirely, right? So now, so in parallel, we are discussing the this one. We are solving the low-level design problems, right? So in turn, for that actually, let's discuss the solid principles, OOPS concepts. So the more this one, the four pillars, right? Encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, as well as the this one abstraction. These four topics, let's discuss that one. And solid principles, SOLID. So all the five principles. So we will be starting with a single responsibility principle today. We have discussed this one already in the Python as well as the JavaScript. Again, the same thing we'll be doing with the Java as well, right? By considering the example and other stuff. Then after these two, we'll be discussing the this one. What do we call? Different design patterns, 10 important design patterns actually, right? 10 important design patterns. Then after that, what we can do, we can just move on with the this one, what do we call, the algorithms. That would be the last playlist actually. Yep. uh, Different algorithms, right? So I have been doing CP since 3 years I think, but from since 22, I think 2022 actually. Yeah. So now, I've started a new account actually. So basically, I've been doing with the only Java. Initially, I used to do with a Node actually, Node, a bit of Java. Then I have that account. So now I have been doing with this one, using only Java actually, right? So mainly, I have done the CP in Java itself. So I used to do in this one, Codeforces, CodeChef, as well as the Edcoder. Now I have stopped in CodeChef as well as the this one, Edcoder. So now I have been this one, giving contests and solving the problems only in the Codeforces, and I have been doing LeetCode mainly. So these two things I'm focusing on. Yep. So this is fine. Now, mm, yeah. First we'll be going with the solid principles. Then we will be going with this one, OOPS concepts tomorrow. Then we can just go with the this one, what do we call, different design patterns. Yeah. Some of the important design patterns actually, which we make use of it quite often within the code actually, right? To write the code basically, right? So this is fine. These things, after discussing these things, we can move into this one, different algorithms. Yep. Let's start with the solid principles actually. The first principles in the solid principles is single responsibility principle, or S in the solid principle, right? S in the solid principle is nothing but single responsibility principle. What it states, single responsibility principle states that a class should have only one reason to change. Again, single responsibility principle states that a class should have only one reason to change. So this is fine. Next, let's move on with the explanation part. A class should focus on only one job or responsibility. Yep. So a class should focus only on one job or responsibility, meaning a class should have only one role to fulfill. Yep. So this is fine. It's the simple. That's the very simple one, right? If a class handles multiple responsibilities, changes in one responsibility may break the others, right? If a class handles multiple responsibilities, changes in one responsibility may break the others, right? So that is the reason we'll be going with the this one. Usually we'll be making use of the single responsibility principle, right? Means class should have only one reason to change. right? So a class should focus only one job or responsibility. This one we have to keep in mind. So single responsibility principle, basically what it does, it improves maintainability, readability, as well as the testability. Yep. So these things we have to keep in mind. Right. So let's move on with the SRP, or the single responsibility principle. The first one, let's try to understand the same thing with the help of code. Right. So I'll just go with here class invoice. Yep. So I'll just go with this one. Sorry, let me go with private here. Let me type this one entirely. Anyways, so this one will be double amount, amount which is of the type double. So next, let me go with a method invoice. So I'll just go with public here. Let me go with invoice. Sorry, this one initialization part, right? So I'll just go with double amount. Yep, let me assign the amount. So I'll just go with amount. Yep, so this is fine. Let me come out of this one entirely. Now, so only the business logic within the invoice is this one. It is related to the invoice itself, right? So let's go with a get amount method, right? So the only responsibility of the class invoice is um, it's completely related to the invoice, meaning so we have to get the amounts. For that, we'll be writing the get amount method, right? So I'll just go with public here, double. So let me go with get amount. Yep, so this is fine. Yeah, within the get amount method. So let me return amount. Yep, let me return this one amount. This is fine. Yep, let me come out of this one entirely. Now what shall we do? I'll just go with the invoice, this one tax calculator, right? So only responsibility of this particular class invoice tax calculator, what we'll be writing would be it is only responsible for the calculation of the tax or computation of the tax, right? So I'll just go with, so each class should be having exactly one role to fulfill, right? Accordingly with the definition. So I'll just go with here invoice tax calculator. So this is fine. Yep. Next, what we'll do. So this is only responsible for the tax calculation, right? So let me go with a method here. Public. Mm, let me go with double. So I'll just go to the calculate tax part actually, right? So I'll just go with invoice. Yep. So this is fine. So within the calculate tax method, so let me return here. Let me return invoice dot get amount, this one. Yep, into 0.18, into 0.18. Yep. So let me come out of this one entirely. Now, we are done with the invoice tax calculator class. We are done with the invoice class as well. Let's go with one more class actually, right? Named invoice printer. Invoice printer, it's only responsible for printing actually. Yep. So I'll just go with class invoice. I'll just go with the invoice printer itself. Yeah, the name suits here actually. Yep. Let me go with the method named print invoice. Yeah, I'll just go with print invoice here. So just go with invoice. Sorry, let me go with, sorry, capital invoice. Yeah, not printer actually. Anyways, so this is fine. So within this method, what we'll be doing, I'll just go with system out println. This one, system out println. So let me go with the invoice amount. So this is fine. Yep. Along with this, let me go with invoice dot get amount actually. This one. Yeah. Invoice dot get amount. Yep. So this is fine. So this has to be smaller actually. Yep. So we are done with the this one. We are done with the coding part actually. So let's do one thing. Let's go with one more class actually, right? So this clearly represents the single responsibility principle itself. I'll just go with class, this one, invoice repository, right? So this is fine. So the only it is only responsible for saving data. The only one role of the invoice repository class is to save the data. So I'll just go with one method named save here. So this is fine. So I'll just go with invoice. This one, I'll just go with a invoice. Yep. So this is fine. Yep. So within the save method, I'll just go with the system out println. This one. So let me pass here invoice save to database. This is fine. Yep. This is fine, I believe. So I'll just come out of this one entirely. Now, what we'd be doing. So let's go with the example usage. Usually I don't this one. What do we call? I don't type the example usage. I get it from the Google. Let me do that. Just give me a second here. So let me come here. I'll just paste this one over here. Right. So we are just going with a, we are just calling the invoice. So we have kept this 1000. So we are just going with a this one. We are just calling the tax calculator. We are just making use of the invoice tax calculator. This one actually. So within that we have written the calculate tax, right? So we are just going with a calculate tax here. So let me change this one to capital T actually, or else we'll be getting the error. So this is fine anyways. Anywhere I have done the same mistake. Come on, this is fine. Yeah. Yep. Then we are just going with the invoice printer, which basically print the only responsibility of the invoice printer class is just to print the invoice, right? So next we are going with the invoice repository. So what does the repository do actually? It is only responsible for saving the data, right? So calculation is done within the this one calculate tax actually invoice tax calculator class. This is done by the class invoice tax calculator where we have written the method calculate tax. So calculating the tax is done by the calculate tax method within the invoice tax calculator. So let me run this one. See, you can clearly see here every class is having only each class is having or each class is assigned with one role exactly, right? So individual classes are assigned to one role exactly, right? You can see here invoice, invoice tax calculator, invoice printer, and invoice repository, right? So let me run this one. We have one error here. So this has to be capital I, man. Where is this actually line number 20? So yeah, and let me make this one capital I. So let me run this one. Yeah. Now, accordingly with the this one formula, invoice get amount 1000 we have, right? We have entered 1000 into 0.18 is nothing but the 180. Tax 180, invoice amount we have considered 1000, and invoice saved to the database. We are getting the correct output, right? So this is the simple example for the single responsibility principle. Yeah, it's very simple, right? So yeah, this is it for the single responsibility principle. Yeah. Now let's discuss the real world applications where we can make use of the or where usually single responsibility principle is used. So see, we can make use of it on banking systems actually. Yeah, usually we make use of it within the banking system. So this is one of the applications, right? See how we can use one class for the account logic. So if we are going for the account, we can just maintain one class for the account logic, one for the transaction logging as well, one for the notifications. These things we can do, right? So we can make use of the single responsibility principle for the banking systems. Usually it is used in the banking systems. Then we can make use of it in the e-commerce applications as well, right? So it is used in the e-commerce applications as well. So see, for the we can just maintain one class for order processing, one class for invoice generation, and one class for the payment handling. So and etc. Right? So that we can do. So this is also one of the real world applications. The final one is we can just make use of this one in the enterprise applications as well, right? Enterprise applications as well. So I'll just write here enterprise apps actually. Yeah. So this is fine. Enterprise applications. So we can maintain one class for logging. We can maintain one class for validation. We can just maintain one class for persistence separated, right? So and etc. Right. So yep. So these are some of the real world applications of the this one single responsibility principle, right? So it makes large systems scalable and bug free, right? So when we are dealing when we are going with the large systems actually a single responsibility principle makes the large system scalable and bug free. You can see here each class is having individual only one role to fulfill actually, right? It is easily understandable, right? Accordingly with the code that we have written. Yep, it's easily understandable. Quite obviously, it makes the large system scalable and bug free, right? So finally, let's come to the part, this one time complexity and the space complexity part. Yeah. So what would be the time complexity here? Each operation here, whatever the for the code that we have written, we are considering, right? So each operation calculate, print, save, runs in constant time. So overall time complexity for each class that we have considered, actually it is big of 1. So this is fine. Time complexity. And what would be the space complexity here? Space complexity would lead to big of 1 itself, because we are going with only fixed number of objects, right? So no extra memory growth at all here. In this case, space complexity would lead to big of 1. So this is extremely simple, single responsibility principle. So we are done with this part. Yeah. Next, we'll be discussing O in the solid principles, nothing but open and or open or closed principle actually, right? So for now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.